Welcome to Backyards and Bevvies. Grab your favorite bevy, pull up a chair, and enjoy the ride. Hey, welcome to Backyards and Bevvies. Wow, my speech is already off today. This is going to be a fun one.
It's early.
Yeah, hey, another early morning-ish kind of day. I'm here with Kiersen, my neighbor, actually.
Yes.
Which is funny because we never met on the road.
Nope.
We didn't know each other up until about, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I guess so.
Trying to do the math. 2019, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had met you in passing a few times, but it was 2019 when we moved into the house. So.
Yeah. And what's crazy is so far all my interviews have been people I've either known for a long, like 5, 10 plus years or my wife.
Yeah.
So this is going to be kind of awesome because we're getting to not only like bond over some of the stuff that, I've always thought is really cool you do, but we get to actually try a new drink that you said you're bringing that I've never had before.
Yes.
Whew. These are always those moments where you're like, okay, here we go. What is, because I'm a pretty picky person.
Really?
I'm down to try anything once.
Okay.
But I do have a very specific palate when it comes to
Okay.
So I might be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Might never have it again though.
That might come hard for the ending if it's not.
You got to do things sometimes, you have to just suck it up and be like, all right, here we go. We're gonna bottom the Z's up. But let's say what is it? What'd you bring? Let's get right into it because I'm kind of thirsty.
Okay.
It was I had a little bevy last night and woke up needing water.
Okay.
And exercise, bacon, and what is this?
Well, actually, this will be good then for how you're feeling today. So I brought an iced matcha latte for you this morning.
Okay, what is a matcha latte?
Yes, so matcha is a type of Japanese green tea.
Okay.
And the reason I thought to bring it today was because when we had been talking about the podcast, you were like, the only drinks that I really don't like are hot tea.
Yeah.
And
hot coffee too. Not a.
Oh, really? Okay.
Anything hot.
Okay. Right. So I was like, understanding. I mean, I know some people are like, oh, hot tea tastes like, I've heard like dishwater, like people that hate hot tea. And I actually didn't used to like hot tea. Now I like all types of hot tea. But when I tried matcha, I was like, oh, this doesn't really taste like tea to me.
Okay.
Like this is delicious. So I've been making them and I don't drink them super regularly, but,
where'd you stumble upon such a tea? Because I can tell you the first time I've ever heard the term, and it was just recently, like in the last year. And mine was in Japan.
Yeah.
So were you in Japan?
I was not. No. I was actually at a class at Lemon Lane, which is here in Nashville. It's like a natural beauty store. They do a lot of like skincare products and healthcare things. And I was at a class there, and I don't even remember what the class was about. It was a couple of years ago, but they made us matcha lattes there. So there are a lot of health benefits to matcha.
All right.
Which is why I was first kind of interested in it.
What family is it like, because there's the sleepy time teas, and then there's like the, I'm trying to think of the one that all my English friends drink, Earl something.
Yeah, like an Earl Grey.
Yeah, Earl Grey. Yeah, I've heard of that guy.
Yeah. So it's caffeinated, so it's not sleepy time.
Ooh.
So it's what we need today.
Yeah, definitely.
It's caffeinated, but the cool thing about matcha is that it also has this, I don't know, I guess it's a vitamin called L-theanine in it, which is a calming supplement.
Ooh.
I don't know if supplement's the right term. That's part of matcha.
Okay.
So it's got the caffeine, it's got the L-theanine, so it's supposed to give you a more like kind of steady energy instead of coffee, which gives you that like buzz at the beginning. Yeah. And then drop.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never, those two words wouldn't necessarily hit it off at first, like calming and caffeinated.
Right.
I'd almost be like, wow. So it's like a Red Bull and a cigarette?
Yeah. I mean,
unfortunately, that's the only thing I can compare it to right now.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. And I know it has a lot of antioxidants too. Like the
Nice.
matcha
Yeah.
has a lot of good things in there for you. So it's supposed to be a health food essentially,
Awesome.
but also gives you that little boost.
Yeah. As I've gotten older, I've been more willing to try things. Brussels sprouts were one of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I went 35 years without eating a Brussels
Really?
sprout. I
Okay.
mean, maybe my mom snuck them in as a
Yeah.
kid. So, but I am seeing the benefits of eating better. So I could imagine drinking better things too would always benefit me.
Yeah.
You know, I tend to work out in the mornings. I tend to try to be as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
And on a beautiful day like today, I mean, it is what we're getting towards the end of summer.
Yeah.
This could be, I mean, if I like it, maybe I'll try it hot next time.
Yeah.
You do live right down the street, so all you have to do is say, hey, I made some hot matcha tea, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I was actually planning, if you like it, to
Uh-huh.
leave you with my little matcha packet
Okay. All right.
for the rest, if you like it.
Hey, let's try it.
Okay.
Let's just dive into it
Okay.
and see where we go. I'm gonna
Okay.
pull this out and get rid of this cooler. All right. So you also so this is on ice, just so everyone knows.
Yes.
And there's a little touch of
Maple syrup.
for my Canadian friends.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Yep.
Is it Canadian maple syrup or is it?
Well,
Kroger?
it's Sam's Club, so
Oh,
I mean, it's organic,
I think they can only harvest it up there.
right?
I've never heard of a maple tree in the States.
Yeah. Big old, I mean, this will last you a long time too. I mean, we got a big thing going here.
Cheers. Thank you for taking the time to make this.
Yeah.
Okay. First impression, I will say it has a little bit of a, not tea, but I would, like almost a seaweedy kind of like
earthy?
yeah, earthy.
Yeah.
Maybe not seaweed. That's about. I was just thinking. It felt familiar from when I've had like sushi.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not bad.
okay.
But this is in a latte too.
Yes. So it's in oat milk.
Oat milk. Okay. I'd be interested to see what something like this would be like straight up. I might have a little, because I'm not a big fan of mushrooms, so it might remind me a little too earthy. But that's not bad.
Okay.
All right. I see where you're going with this.
Is it sweet enough?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a big sweet person.
Okay.
Unfortunately, maybe I'm a big artificial sweet person.
Okay.
Which is probably even worse for me in life. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's hard.
me and my Diet Cokes and my Diet Energy drinks are probably the worst thing I put in my body.
Yeah.
When I think about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, but this is pretty good.
Okay.
Let's keep going with it.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, the first time I heard about it, I was on tour in Japan, and the front of house guy had mentioned it, and I was like, never heard of it. Never heard of the stuff. And over there, they do wild things with food and drinks, and they put, you can get a pizza on the side of the road and a vending machine if you really wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, oh, they have vending machines for everything. But he saw matcha Twix bars.
That's so crazy. That's so cool.
It was weird because they were green.
Okay.
And I kept thinking like, oh, this is going to taste like I'm in like chocolate chip or something, like something very not matcha, but it's good. I mean, they were interesting over there. The same flavor though.
Okay.
So whatever the flavor is, that earthy, those were definitely sweeter. So
yeah, right. And it had like the chocolate and the cookie part.
yeah, I mean it was Kit Kat.
Kit Kat.
Kit
Okay.
Kat, that's
Okay.
what it was, and it was green. The whole thing was green,
That's
so it was like
cool.
mixed into the chocolate with the not nougat. Is it nougat?
Yeah.
You're from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
So is Hershey, was that a spot that you went to a lot?
Oh yeah. Hershey Park every year, at least once a year.
Okay. What about the Hershey Hotel?
I never stayed at the Hershey Hotel. We were only about an hour from Hershey.
Oh, okay.
So we would, it would always just be a day trip with family or friends, school. We even went on like field trips there to Hershey Park.
Did you guys have to choose whether you're a left or a right Twixer before you got off the school bus?
Ooh. Yeah, that's funny. But that was fun to go through. So they have Chocolate World there where you get to go through and then they give you a piece of candy at the end.
Yeah.
you do the whole tour, and they show you how they make it. But then there's the theme park too, with the coasters and all that good stuff.
You would have been happy if they would have had a matcha.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
But you just said you got into this earlier. So were you this health conscious when you were in school going to Hershey Park then, or were you a little more?
No, I wouldn't say then. I mean, I guess growing up, my mom has always kind of been health conscious.
Okay.
I remember, like, we only ever had wheat bread in the house.
Yeah.
And it was when I'd go to, like, friends' houses and I got to have white bread, I would get so excited.
Whoa.
I hated it. I hated the wheat bread.
Was it that iron? There's, like, one with, like, a little Iron Man on it. Or not Iron Man himself, but, like, I forget. It's, like, a darkish, like, reddish bag.
Like
my mom,
a weightlifting dude or something?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I'd have to look up the brand again. My mom, same thing with our house.
Okay.
It was all health food.
Yeah.
But not health food, like, in the sense, like, we think of health food these days.
Right.
Healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, like, we could only have, like, sugary cereal for dessert, not breakfast.
Okay.
That was always sad as a child.
But so you've kind of gone the opposite route, though. You, like, stayed kind of healthy, though, like, maybe you had your wild, like, whatever, went on pizza binges and all the fun stuff, white pizza binge, white sauce, everything, exciting. But now, I mean, every time we hang out, you're always making some pretty interesting dishes that aren't, like, I think, what was it, a cauliflower dish one time that you made for us? It was really good. It was almost like a mac and cheese, but I think cauliflower.
Yes, that was quinoa and brown rice.
Quinoa, yeah.
Noodles.
Yeah.
And then we just made it into mac and cheese.
Again, blew my mind.
Yeah, that was good. That turned out really good.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're going to get to this in a little bit, but I really do think eating better helps you throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know the days that I scarf down pizza at night, late night, have a few beers. I don't smoke anymore, which is probably really healthy, but the days that I would, oh my gosh, the next morning, as I got older, it just became harder and harder to get up. And I would always look for, like, someone to be in catering on tour making, celery and beet and, something disgusting smoothie.
Yep.
I would drink this over that all day long.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you like it. You're enjoying it somewhat, yeah.
It's growing on me for sure. I think with each sip, I'm like, okay, like the initial. Okay, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say, do you know when you ever, like, brush your teeth and then you try something, it tastes like, so whatever. Maybe I, like, maybe I took a sip of something before I came out here, so maybe I was like a mixture of this thing. So now that it's the only thing in my mouth, I'm like, all right, yeah, like that gets a little better.
Do you feel like it helps knowing the health benefits? Because, like, I feel like for me, if there's something that I don't love at first, but I think about how it's going to make me feel good, I tend to like it more.
Oh, like a placebo effect?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that pill, I don't know what's in it, but someone said it's really healthy. I'm going to try it. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Because I think mentally, like, I talk myself out of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe I was born that way, or maybe I just went through some traumatic things in my life where I was like, okay, well, it's me now. So I put myself here. I'm going to have to, like, dig my way out, but maybe that drink can help me.
Yeah.
Or maybe maybe today I won't go get, 4 burritos and sit in my room and be upset and eat them by myself. Maybe I'll go get a salad.
Yeah.
And so I could see exactly that.
Yeah. I think for me, you kind of said, like, I'm always cooking healthy things. I think that's how I kind of got into it. I had a nutrition minor in my undergrad. And when I started learning about different foods and how they affect your body, it just made me more interested in trying them. And then it was things that I hadn't liked in the past, like salmon is just a thought off the top of my head. Hated salmon as a kid.
Yeah.
Then started learning about, all the healthy fats and how they're good for your body. And so then I would make it and I'd be like, oh, I like this a little bit more now. And so I don't know. That's just kind of been, and now there's only a couple of things that I don't like.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've kind of expanded my palate just knowing how things help your body and fuel you in a good way.
Yeah. And maybe your dude, John, who I know, that's how we met, maybe he comes home from the road and he has a different a palate for food because he's been eating catering and doing all these things. So, I mean, for him, that might be a joyful thing is in life to come home and have someone that already kind of enjoys cooking and enjoys cooking healthy. So it's like, I mean, to me, I think John was more on country. So he would come home for those like week runs or whatever on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'd be gone and I would get into these funks where I would just like eat McDonald's every other day or something like that, just because it was convenient more than anything else. And sometimes I was just like, I don't really feel like going and having to think about or sit at a restaurant or have to deal with people. And I mean, it really does affect you deep down, I think, in more ways than just on a like, oh, I'm getting chubby.
On a physical level.
Yeah, because then that plays into it too. It's like, oh, now I'm chubby and upset and I'm gone and I'm sick now or whatever. You know, you can start laundry listing these like things out when, well, maybe it was just I need to put something healthy in me once a day in the morning. Maybe that's a start.
Yeah, food is, food as medicine. I mean, that's I feel like a big kind of buzz topic right now.
For sure.
Yeah, just trying to alter what you put in your body so that, you feel good physically. And, I'm a big proponent of just the mind-body connection and how if our body doesn't feel good, it's hard for our mind to feel good.
Where do you, like you wake up one day, like for us, it's maybe different, but like maybe for someone listening, they can be like, I'm in that funk right now. Like, wow, like whatever they're saying, I kind of feel that. And like, maybe I do eat bad. I don't know if that's the first place I start. Maybe the first place I start is just like, maybe today I'm going to go for a walk and clear my head. Because sometimes like you just have clouds in there and then you're like, all right, I'm going to clear my head. Now I'm going to go, hey, what's the name of the tea again? Matcha. Yeah. So, hey, maybe I'm going to go make me this matcha latte thing that they're talking about and try it out and see. But then I also think people don't give it enough time. Like, see, I'm a big also like, hey, if I'm going to do something, I got to at least give it a week and see how I feel in that, like from Monday to Monday. And if I do it every day, try it out. So maybe this would be something that I personally could take on too, because I'm always looking for new tricks of the trade to not be 40 years old and unhealthy. And
and it takes a while for some of these things to, for you to start to notice a change. And I think we want to notice changes instantly. And also if your body's used to, drinking a couple cups of coffee every morning, it might be a tough switch into matcha, right? Because you're not getting the same amount of caffeine. So maybe you have some headaches at first, if your body's kind of weaning off that high caffeine. So
do you do coffee at all?
I do.
Okay, so you do a little coffee in the morning or midday?
Usually morning. Right. Yeah. I've been back and forth with coffee. I'm back on it right now. Moderation for me is key. I don't like when I get to the point where I have headaches if I don't have it.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, ooh,
I think that's where my caffeine comes into. It's like, it's been in my life now I used to drink like 6 Red Bulls a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
6?
Maybe even more.
My gosh.
I would just crack them open, just walk around.
Like water.
Yeah, because they were on tour for free. So like at the time I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather drink that, tastes kind of good, than water, which was like the complete wrong thing.
Yeah. But also you guys are like having like 4 hours of sleep some nights. I mean, and having to like be up.
Yeah. I mean,
day.
Is it weird to hear sometimes like John come home with these stories and be like, man, that's just brutal on your body?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I went out on tour with him, like got to ride on the bus and spend a weekend.
What bunk did you take?
Oh man. I don't think I was in the middle. I think I was on the bottom.
Okay.
But I had a miserable night feeling like just so unsteady the whole time. Like,
it is a weird feeling.
My body was not, that had been the first time I'd ever done anything like that. But man, I had a whole new appreciation for touring life after that weekend.
Yeah.
We were at a festival think in Ohio, kind of middle of nowhere, very dusty, dirty.
Maybe a porta potty.
Yeah, not like probably the greatest venue.
Yeah.
That was an experience, and just not having any of your own personal time.
Mm-hmm.
That was really interesting. Not even when you sleep.
No. Mental health on the road. Again, I think, on the end of one decade of touring, coming into a new decade of touring with like younger, and again, maybe I use the term wrong, but maybe like a more millennial generation that were more about the health benefits and more about the healthy lifestyle. And some of the old guys, like they would meet it like, that doesn't sound like me. I'm going to go rage and smoke some cigarettes, and you're more than welcome to join. And I was always torn between that because it's like, I loved my personal space. I loved the workouts that I would do in the morning or whatever. And I would love all these other things, but then I also loved the whole reason I got into the business was for the unhealthy side of it. So I can see someone's first experience, even probably today, you get a mixture of people that you probably see more healthy people out on the road, maybe. I don't know. It'd be hard to say, give you a number. But for people listening who have never experienced a tour, just see like buses rolling into your town, there's 12 people on there. Sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky and you have like 11.
Right.
So you get that extra junk bunk to put your backpack and a couple of things in there. But people don't realize that they're like, these roadies, they finish their job at, let's just say 2 a.m, some of them. They get on a bus, they travel through the night, they wake up at the venue. And like you said, you woke up in Ohio, middle of Ohio, somewhere in a dirt field.
Yep.
You reach for the first thing that's usually on the bus because, again, you're in a small cramped area. So it's not like there's a full kitchen. It's usually a small refrigerator. There's some waters and drawers underneath. You brush your teeth, you grab a coffee usually, and then you head over to catering. And let's be real, a festival in the middle of Ohio is probably going to have bacon, eggs, some sort of really heavy, carb-loaded thing, pancakes, maybe a fruit bowl, and then a coffee station.
Yeah.
Now, again, there's a lot of tours that are realizing that, and so then they do this. They have the matcha teas. They have like the tour table that's like dedicated just to them, and it's they have a blender and stuff like that, and that's where you see like those roadies that are healthy.
Yeah.
Then you see the other guys roll in, and they're just slamming black coffee with a cigarette hanging out of there.
Yeah, it's a hard lifestyle
for
sure to try to incorporate healthy habits into.
No, and getting off the road for me, I think I was already on the way out, but I know that there's a lot of people looking for stuff, and again, looking into resources and just trying new things, I think is cool. Now I have to ask you, did you not sleep good because you could hear like the TV in the front lounge, or was it the rumble of the road?
It was actually kind of an odd thing. So
or snoring.
It wasn't snoring. They had said that this hadn't happened on this particular bus before. It just so happened the night that I was out. But there was a terrible smell coming through the vents. So, there's like the little vents in each bunk. Just this terrible, awful smell. They didn't know if something had, like, an animal had died.
Oh, that's great.
It was awful. I mean, everyone found it repulsive, not just me.
Yeah.
So there was that happening. And then I felt like I was on a boat. Like I felt seasick.
Yeah. Takes a minute.
Yeah. And I think maybe I have some like equilibrium stuff going on sometimes. Like if I'm on a boat, when I get off, I feel it for like a day. Like I just feel like kind of unsteady. So it was partially that and partially this terrible smell.
That all I've experienced, all of that. Now throw yourself into an ice storm in Canada in January.
Oh my gosh.
And that makes it real fun.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe that's why I drank so much on the road. Help me go to bed at night. I was on the top bunk though, so it was a little harder to crawl in and out.
Right.
Well, I'm going to hop from your touring career over to, so one thing that always interests me when we met, like there's certain people in life that really dedicate themselves to helping other people. And I think that that's been one theme that I've noticed about you since we've met. Like maybe not the first moment, but then like as we started to hang out more, I was like, oh wow, is it social care, right?
Social work.
Social work, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Again, if I say the wrong term, just correct me. I'd much rather learn and maybe help educate than continue to be, ignorant sometimes with how I say things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you were at one job, you left there, and then for a long time, I just watched you look for another job in this same field.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an interesting thing to me because so many people go for like money grabs and you've gone through a lot of school.
Mm-hmm.
You have your master's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very impressive, by the way. And you just want to help people. And I think that that's so cool because right now, I think a lot of people are in the need of like getting their health together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the main reason why I wanted you on here, is because it's like, I see you being healthy. I see you helping people. There has to be a correlation between the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like do you wake up in the morning and say, all right, today I'm just going to smile a little bit more? Or how do you start helping someone that potentially, because again, we don't have to name who you're helping or even the style you're helping, but I just think that mental health in general is like super hard on people. And so it's like, how do you wake up every day and say, okay, I'm going to talk to someone who's going through a really hard time, and how am I going to tell them that, well, maybe you should try this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an in-depth question. I mean, I would say, I have people ask me a lot of times, how do you do the work that you do and not feel down? Like, you see people sometimes at their worst.
Yeah.
And how does that not bring you down? And for me, it's always been, there's a lot of global issues. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. There's a lot of bad things going on in the world. But for me, when I get to help somebody in just a tiny way, I feel like it's making a difference. I mean, it sounds like cliche. It sounds cheesy. I know that I will never solve all the world problems, and I don't
think anyone will.
Right. And I try to not get caught up in that. I try to just look at the very, very small things that I can do to support another person
Mm-hmm.
to better their life. Because that's what we're all here for. We want to decrease suffering. We want to increase joy. And so that's
a realistic outlook, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're not waking up saying, all right, let me take the world on.
Yeah.
You're like, let me help that one person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, even if it's just that one little bit that day too, because again, I'm sure you get new clients where you're like, oh, this one isn't going to be a month. This is going to be like 4 months, 5 months, or,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long,
Yeah.
You guys get assigned to people, but that has to be part of that deal that you're just explaining. Like, okay, every day I just have to get up,
Mm-hmm.
go talk to this person. Is it a daily thing that you usually meet with these people, or is it weekly?
So right now, I am working as an outpatient therapist. So I'm seeing people really as often as they want to meet with me. And I actually think that the most awesome part of my job is that I'm not like telling people how to change their lives. I am supporting them in what they, really already know and have, deep within them to kind of figure out the changes that they need to make, and helping them process through some of the things so that they've been through.
Because maybe sometimes they've already been told something. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I know when I'm told not to do something, I want to do it now.
Right.
It really boils down to like me seeing it. Sometimes I need to today I'm not going to do that. And then someone will be like, yeah, that's probably a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I won't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of helping people discover the answers and the truths that they already have in them.
That's cool. Now, how many years have you been doing this?
So,
And where'd you get your master's at?
so I got my master's at UT, a program here in Nashville.
That's right.
Yeah. And I got my master's in social work. But my journey in the, helping field in social services, that started, well, I guess it's been, man,
Mhm.
7-ish years.
Okay.
So I went to school for child development and family relations. That
Okay.
was my bachelor's degree. And
That's where you got your minor in the food.
yes.
Ah.
Yep. Got my minor in food and nutrition. So I kind of originally was interested in being a nutritionist. And then saw all of the science classes that you had to take. Science was not my strong point. And
No.
so I did not, for a minor, you had to take some science, but not the full scope. So anyway, I had I went to school undeclared, so I didn't have a major when I first went for my undergrad.
Communication.
Yeah, which my parents were very stressed out about. They were like, "Are you ever going to figure out what you want to do?" But I ended up, because I was undeclared, I had to take a class where it kind of helped you figure out maybe what path you want to take.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across my major, which was child development and family relations. And I always knew that I liked working with kiddos. And half the people in my major went on to teach at the preschool level.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other half went into social services.
Okay.
And what I liked the social service route. And so what I really liked about it was, how can we support families so that kiddos can have great lives?
Yeah.
And so my first job out of college was I worked for Head Start, which is a federally funded preschool program.
Okay.
And they have a component, a social service component. And so I worked on that social service component, and I did home visits with families. And so went into their homes, and
would you be assigned? Would they give you hey, here's your assignment to go? Okay.
Yeah. So all of the families, their kids went to Head Start. They went to the preschool.
Okay, so they were already kind of in that area.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So they all went to the preschool, and then they had the home visiting component, and we would help families just meet any needs that they had. So getting healthy foods, paying utilities, getting their healthcare needs met, setting goals. So, kind of helping the parents identify, these are some goals that I have for my family. How can I take steps to get there?
Were they younger parents at the time, or was that a trend, maybe let's say young 20s?
A lot of them were younger. So the families all had to qualify income level.
Okay.
So they had to be at a certain income level to go to Head Start. So a lot of low income families. Mm-hmm. And some of them were young, but not all of them. And yeah, so we did, like I said, a lot of resource stuff, helping getting families connected with that. And then some parent education stuff, which obviously I'm still not a parent, wasn't a parent that I was a, 22-year-old, fresh out of school. And so, but doing a lot of handouts and worksheets and those types of things.
Yeah, but I think that, just because you're not a parent doesn't mean that you can give someone some solid advice on, hey, if you have a goal, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just life. Mm-hmm. So, the parenting side, you might not have been able to tell them how to hey, I would do this with your kid, but you could look at them and be like, hey, maybe you just try feeding your kid no sugar at 10 p.m. at night.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not I'm not a scientist or, I'm not an expert here yet, but I'm just going to go on a limb that's just a healthy practice.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, though, maybe we can jump back to the career in a second, but I'm always interested, man, what if I learned that in school? It's great that they teach. Let's just not go down that route, but it's great that there's schools. Mm-hmm. schools can be so much more involved. And
Yes.
even like, okay, let's get rid of something that has zero relevance to my life and replace it with like a nutrition class.
Mhm.
And it's not because that you're saying that everyone needs the nutrition class, but maybe there's some kids at home that are like, look, my parents just don't know how to cook like the way I want to eat, and all I do is eat junk food. And maybe I want to try it because I went over to Jim's house, and Jim's parents made me
Mhm.
a salad and a steak and all this stuff, and I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know about this stuff. Or
Yep.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
And again, like that's a very simple outlook on it, but unfortunately, I really do feel like like some of that stuff can be changed because kids want to change stuff. Kids are smart.
Mhm.
I think sometimes we don't give youngsters that credit because we're like, I don't know, we're so full of ourselves at times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see my like? It's hard to explain because now that I have a kid, all I want him to do is experience so much more than I did. And not that my parents are bad people, not like, but I wish that when I was in school, I would have maybe been able to like know how to do my taxes or like how to set goals realistically and not like, cool, the Pythagorean theorem was awesome and all these other things are great, but maybe that's not for everybody, and maybe some stuff can be helpful to.
Mhm. I absolutely agree with that. I think, in terms of mental health as well, teaching kids early about mental health and about emotions and how can we regulate our emotions and that it's okay to have emotions. I think that those types of things could be so beneficial for little ones to learn. Because then we have kind of those skills from early on up and we don't get to adulthood and we're like, how do I handle my anxiety?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's, again, what it boils down to is when you're a 20-year-old with a newborn baby screaming and you're like, well, how do I even cook for this kid? Again, maybe that math day where you were learning about how to do quantum physics, which made no relevant, wasn't going to help you. Maybe they just had like a general baby class. And then like that way, because maybe you want to be a parent, maybe you don't. Maybe you have no idea what you want to do, or maybe like whatever. Maybe you're like, I'm going to get out of school, I'm a baby. But there's that like knowledge.
Yeah.
And again, knowledge, like maybe it was just, it's stuck in the very back, but then all of a sudden it'll come forward when you like need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, teaching kids simple practice like breath work, how to use your breath to regulate your nervous system. I mean, obviously you wouldn't use those terms with a little kiddo, but that's a really interesting concept because I think about that a lot, how we could be incorporating some of those more life skills.
But that's the global thing that you're saying. It's like you can't just all of a sudden change the entire school district.
Right.
But maybe this one person that you're helping, right, turns around and 5 years from now has a baby. And then they are able to like negotiate some skills that they never had, but you helped them learn a couple skills of like just emotions, or let's just say something, just one thing. And then when their little one has a temper tantrum, instead of just throwing chocolate in their face and setting them outside with an iPad, they're like, hey, chill. Life gets way worse. You have a lot to go, so if you exercise all this energy now, you're not going to have any more later. So deep breath.
Yeah, and allowing kids to have emotions because we're emotional beings. I mean, that's part of our makeup.
You should see me. I go through about 40 a day.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And again, I'm not a parent, and so I don't know how I will be when I have a kid. I have some ideas of things that I want to do, but I mean, how often do we see a kiddo starts crying in a restaurant and it's like, they kind of get punished for it.
Mayhem breaks out.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well now you have to go sit in the car. Like there's a deer just ran behind you.
See, hey, I'm telling you, this is going to be one of those fun shows. We have someone cutting wood up remember we were going to do this at your house too. And you're like, well, I don't know. One neighbor, the kid wants to come and play in our yard all the time. And then the next neighbor, sometimes the dogs get out, and maybe we'll just do it in your house because it might be quiet. Now we have a deck being built over there. I'm pretty sure the tornado sirens are going to go off in the next.
You think?
Well, they always test them on the first of
Oh,
each month,
okay.
or the first Saturday of each month.
Well, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
There's another one too. A little guy looks like.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
If our viewers again haven't gone to the YouTube and just watched some of these videos, like the leaves are falling right now. I don't know. It's a kind of a sunny, cloudy day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like your tea. It's caffeinated and calming.
Yes. Yes.
And that's how this backyard is. No, but good. Look, I'm a big proponent too that look, kids and parents, they have to figure out their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a big proponent on like, I'm not going to go and tell someone how to raise their kid. But I do think that kids in general can, in school, be able to exercise their brains a little bit more so they're not just relying on whatever information they're getting at home.
Mm-hmm.
And not like in a sense that all parents are bad or that there's just like, oh, kids are dumb nowadays. No, I think that we get hyper focused on other things, like let's just say the news, for instance. And so parents are watching the news, the kid might be wanting to learn about something else, but they're like stuck in a house where they're just watching the news or something. And again, not like the news is bad. You need to get some stuff. You need to get your daily whatever. But like we have to separate all these things out and really start laying things out in the sense like, okay, well, if we want growth, we have to look at ourselves first before we can truly go and say like, okay, I'm going to go tell that parent how to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I need to look at my kid and be like, hey, are you all that am I treating you good? Am I really exercising your brain daily? And, I don't know. There's just so many like avenues that a parent could take. And so like you saying like, I don't know the parent I'm going to be. Well, I think you're just going to be a parent.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like it really is hard because sometimes your kids are just yelling. Like just yelling. And you're like, whoa, I have no idea what to do right now. So I'm just going to do something.
Right.
And that in lies where it's like really hard because then as a person, we just tend to look at a book and be like, oh,
mm-hmm.
they're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they're not. Maybe they're just going through something that day, or maybe they're just having mental health and all that stuff is hard. But then it's the kids I'm worried about that happens every day, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you see stuff at a different level than I do, and I'm very blessed to know that like I have a roof over my head.
Mm-hmm.
I have food at the table. Maybe it's not like sirloin steak every night and potatoes or whatever, but like we eat every day. There's a lot of people that just go hungry, and
yep.
I'm sure that you have to sometimes calm people down from that anxiety.
Yeah, and it's so hard when people's very basic needs aren't being met to even be able to think about targeting thought processes and emotions. Because there's a theory, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No, but sounds interesting.
Yeah, so it's something we talk about in school. And so at the very bottom, it's a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the very bottom is like shelter, right? And food and water. And then the next level is, well, maybe shelter's first, and then food and water the next one, and then it goes up, and then it goes to like human connection, and then like the top one is like self-actualization. I feel like I'm missing a couple steps, but the idea of this theory is that you can't target these top things like feeling good about yourself and feeling good mentally and emotionally if your very basic needs aren't being met. And there's so many people that struggle with that, and it is hard, being a privileged person who has all of those needs met on a daily basis to understand. Yeah,
there's days that I look at my life, I'm like, dang, I should not be complaining about anything. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I know that I can't go out and help everyone. Mm-hmm. So I'm realistic about it. Like, I'm like, well, if I see someone in need today, I'm going to try to help them. Mm-hmm. Maybe it is I tend to get a lot of people that talk to me because of the tattoo thing. Mm-hmm. So sometimes like I can watch me cheer up like an old person who probably hasn't talked to someone in a long time. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not sure that the age range that you deal with, but we always think mental health young sometimes, but like old people are alone. That's a real thing. And so like you're saying this what's the name of it?
The hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. That aloneness, I mean, or you can't get to that, or where is that in the
That's like kind of middle ground of
Okay.
like needing that human connection.
Yeah. So maybe you have the food, you have the shelter, but then you're alone.
Yep.
And you're like, dang.
Yep.
No one wants to talk to me. And then now with social media, that makes it even harder, I'm sure, because maybe you are surrounded by people, but you're looking at your life through this social media life, and then you're like, man, I only got one like. I put myself out there today and I got 0 likes, or I got, no one retweeted me.
Yep.
Like, that has to be hard on people. I know just myself getting back into it. Wow. There's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And there's studies that have been done on like the dopamine that your brain feels when we see likes.
Yeah.
It's like on
Coke.
posts. Yeah. Yeah. Social media, I mean, man, it's just, it's one of these hard topics, and I feel old when I talk about it. I feel like a crotchety old woman, like, the social media. But I mean, there's so many good, there's so many good parts about it. I
100%.
mean, yeah, I'm sure you can relate just to staying connected to people you've met all over.
Yeah. That's the number one thing is I can talk to anyone at any point in the world.
Yep.
How many countries are there? 200 and something? 50, 80?
I don't know.
There's a lot of countries.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't talk to all of them, but there's a lot of people I know in different countries. Instantaneous talking.
Yep. Yeah. And I love that part too. Haven't traveled nearly as much as you have, but have lived in a couple of different places and have built good relationships there. And I get to, stay in contact with people that way and see how they're doing, even if I'm not direct messaging them all the time. And I love social media for that. And I think that there are a lot of positive platforms and like Instagram pages and stuff that are, supportive of mental health, but there's also, this toxic aspect of we only see one side of the story.
100%.
When we're looking at social media. There's a really good image of an apple, and it's like this bright, crisp red apple, like shiny on one side, and there's so the apple's here, and then there's like a mirror right here, and so you're seeing the front of the shiny, crisp apple.
Yeah.
And then on the back side, there's a big bite taken out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like in social media, you're only seeing that front part of the apple, and so what that does to our brains is it makes us think, okay, well, I have all these things that are, quote unquote, wrong going on in my life. And all of these people, they only have good things going on.
Only good things. Yeah.
And so we compare.
And we're human. And that's like that deep down, that's just in us. We're always comparing.
Yep.
Always looking at like what's greener on the other side. Why don't I have that? How can I get there?
Yep.
Have you seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Wow. Yeah. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
Anyone who has not seen that needs to go look at it, because that, again, social media isn't bad. I love it. I wish more people harnessed it in the sense of why it's made. Unfortunately, but watching that movie, you can see how people can get led down these paths and be like, oh, okay, because it's so easy for them to direct you in a sense. So what if there was we're talking about school and education and stuff like that. Like now that there's probably media classes, right? For TV and film and newspaper and all these other things. What if because nowadays kids are getting into social media in middle school. What if you had a social media class and you educated educators on how to talk to these young kids in a sense look, we know that you're going this route. But maybe it's a humanities course or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't really know school anymore. I didn't really pay attention when I went. But you're giving these kids maybe it's in physical education. I don't even think can't play dodgeball anymore. So maybe we educate them on how to find themselves in these digital platforms.
Yeah.
Look, just because little Susie posted a picture of her over here doesn't mean that you can't get there, or that that's even fun for little Susie. She might be, putting on a complete, and maybe then that helps that mental health as they get older. But I mean, mental health is hard. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because I just think that it's such a wild thing that you just keep pushing into this. Like every time I talk to you, you're like, yeah, I'm doing more. Like during the pandemic, you were doing them at the house via Zooms and stuff. And I mean, that has to be challenging because now you're watching someone.
Yes.
The engagement. You did tell me they went good though, if I remember correctly, right? For the most part, like
surprisingly well.
Yeah.
So I graduated 2020, kind of a couple months into the pandemic. So my first
with the masters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my first experience as a therapist, more so than social services, and my first experience like working with people on a therapy level was virtual.
Wild.
On Zoom. And I was terrified starting. My first position, I actually did group therapy. And so I was like, 3-hour groups on Zoom? Like, is this a joke?
Did you wear sweats?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Business up top, sweats on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
That was one of the best parts. It really was. And I actually remember doing one time a chair yoga activity with my group.
Okay.
And so the chair yoga, what I did was played it on my computer and shared my screen, but my video was also on. And so most of it was all like upper body stuff, like stretching your neck and shoulders and stuff. Well, of course, this one chair yoga that I put on had you do something where you had to like kind of stand up and bend down. Well, I was wearing my sweatpants. And I did not want my patients to see that. So I just kind of didn't do that move, but I was like, oh man, busted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's awesome though that you were able to connect again. Because of technology, you're able to still see these people when they might have even been going through a harder time in life now. Because now that pyramid that you're talking about is, well, there's shortages in food supply stuff. People can't leave their house. They can't engage with friends. It's like now you're really stranded.
Yeah. The social isolation thing, I've seen a huge increase with COVID, just people feeling not connected, especially people that live by themselves and really relied on, community socialization, being able to see people that weren't in their immediate household, being able to go to work and just engage with people there. There's so many people working from home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen that just really affects how we feel because we are social beings. We thrive off of that connection. And social media doesn't give it to us in that same way.
No. That's the hard part again. It's because now you're at home trying to find something, and now you're just scrolling, and all you're seeing is, who knows what you're seeing? Potentially happiness, and there you are. You're lost again.
Yeah.
Man, I know that I've definitely dealt with depression throughout my life, even though I might not have ever shown it. And that's why I think sometimes I have so many tattoos. It was easy for me to cover up. It was easy for me to play that, like, I'm a different person kind of role. And I think, again, though, people see me and they're like, oh, he's tattooed. Like, whatever their impression of me is probably bad at some time. I've probably rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But one thing I can be honest about it and say that, yeah, I mean, like, when I first got him, maybe I thought it was just the look. But then the more I covered up myself, I was like, I'm turning into a different person. This is healthy. Maybe it wasn't healthy at all times because I was hiding certain things. And I think that it's key that there's places that you can go to talk. Because your friends sometimes don't want to hear it. They have their own issues. But people like you, you dedicate that stuff.
Yeah, it's being able to have an objective standpoint and someone that, you don't ever have to see outside of the therapy session. You don't have to feel judged. It's a judgment-free zone, and that person can help you work through some of those feelings. But yeah, I think that's really cool insight for you to have. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a therapy session, but I think that's really,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
really cool.
but it's taken years of me being dishonest with myself and then honest with myself. And also getting a lot of times, let's be real, we're not honest with ourselves until something catastrophic happens. Like, maybe it's someone close to you dies that you were doing bad stuff with, or or maybe your relationship was at a turning point because you were doing bad stuff, or maybe you got arrested. And I think that those are moments, and sometimes, again, because we're judgers, it's easy for us to turn and be like, oh, they're only changing right now because of X, Y, or Z. They'll just revert, and maybe they do. But then again, we're human.
Yeah.
We make mistakes, and I think that that's one of those things where but until you're going to be honest with yourself, you're just going to keep making the mistakes. And so for me, I had to come to some really rough and not fun conversations and be like, and that's, again, people don't want to have hard conversations though, because it's really easy just to be like, well, I'll just go back to my life, whatever, it's almost over anyways. And I don't know. I've been listening to a guy named Jordan Peterson for years now. However anyone wants to take him as a person or his, that's outside of it. But he has really cool things that I believe are helpful, because like one of the things he would always say is like, well, what if you just like bettered yourself 1% every day for like a year, right? Well, that's like potential to be at 365% better. But well, what if you still fall a couple times and, maybe not every day is a percentage better. Maybe it's 2 percentages down. Still, over a year, if you tried, well, maybe you're just 101% better. That's still better than you were the year before, And so, like things like that have always really hit home for me, whether it be health or well, now it's family and marriage and like, well, maybe I can be a better person.
Yeah.
In general, like just a better person in life. Like, what if we were all just like 1% better tomorrow?
Yeah.
To the next person.
Yeah. And I like that idea of better versus best, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in this feeling of like, I have to do all of the things the right way all of the time, and I can't ever have a down day. I can't ever have a moment of anxiety. And that can feel, that's such a high expectation to meet.
Oh my gosh.
And so just recognizing that it's just a whole journey. I mean, there's valleys and there's hills, and then there's times when we're just kind of floating along, and, being able to accept that our experiences are going to be there, that things are going to change, and there's going to be some good days and some bad days, and trying to have sort of a balanced, open perspective to it.
Yeah, as I say, as a therapist, you really, to be very open-minded as a therapist, you kind of have to put yourself in that position where you have to listen to all sides, and you have to be open to listen to all sides, and you have to be like, almost like, wow, like as much as I want to not like what I'm hearing, I have to look at this as like an open, non-judgmental thing.
Yeah.
Because even if like, again, well, maybe I can't change this about this person, or maybe I can't help them better themselves this way, but maybe I can just help them better themselves in this way. And you might not agree with all their little things, and I don't. It's hard. You have to. Again, I was really stoked to have you on this, because I just am like always so teachers, like paramedics, like anyone that has one of those jobs where you're just out there helping people to help people, because clearly the paycheck is not like you're not a basketball star, driving I didn't see you roll up in a Ferrari.
No.
And I think that that's very cool, because again, as a youngster, you're fed to, like, I was fed money, like do money, like not fed money, like I wish I was fed money, like that would have been awesome. But then there's that line though. Oh, that would have been awesome. Would it have been awesome? Like, would it have been awesome to get whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, however I wanted? And we always look at those and we are like, man, they have it so good. And I saw this TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok too. Social media.
Nice.
But I try to follow the good stuff.
Okay.
But this guy said something cool. He goes, I hang out with a lot of like hedge fund kids and they're miserable because they'll never do it. They'll just be always told, oh, your dad gave you that, or your mom gave you that, or your family gave you that. Do you experience like, or are you more in a different, like, I'm going to say this in, I guess, the nicest way I can. Like, do you deal with more people in poverty or in like a middle class, or do you see rich people come into therapy too?
In my current role, I have a whole range.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing therapy. So not so much like traditional social work, which being kind of helping with resources, helping, there's school social workers, there's medical social workers. So I'm actually doing like psychotherapy, which is a route that some social workers take. And, for me, I think what kind of led me to taking this route, I didn't think I wanted to do that. I thought I wanted to be a school social worker. I thought I wanted to be, in schools.
Elementary?
No, I thought actually older. So before I went back for my master's, I ended up working with students in high school who had kiddos. So they were either pregnant or already had kids. And I fell in love with working with teenagers. Really, really enjoyed that position, a lot. I did it for 3 years. So I was like, I'm going to go back to school, get my master's, and I'm going to work in schools and work with teens. And during my master's program, so we had 2 field placements. It was a 2-year program. The first year I worked in a school. The second year I was like, I want to do something totally different. And so I did a medical placement, but I was doing therapy in a primary care office. So this is a newer kind of idea, and I love it. So it's integrating mental behavioral health into your primary care office. So you can it's like kind of like a one-stop shop. You can go into your primary care provider, say, I've got XYZ going on physically, and I'm also feeling a little bit anxious. And then they're like, well, hey, we now have a therapist. You can meet with them here. So this placement was very different from anything I'd ever done in the past. And at the same time, I was taking a class on therapy, like psychotherapy. And prior to that, I had been like, I never want to be a therapist. I don't want to sit and talk to people all day. I want to kind of be up and, making changes on, maybe bigger levels. But this experience of my field placement and that class, I learned that we can change our thoughts and emotions, that we have some power over those things, and
for sure
that we can help others do that. And I saw it work. And so I got to kind of put what I was learning in my classes into practice in my field placement, and I saw people suffer less.
That's awesome.
I saw them feel better. And kind of in conjunction with doing my own exploration and doing my own therapy and learning, wow, this stuff is helping me.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of expounded on my interest. And I was like, I want to help other people feel better. Because ultimately, when we feel better in our minds and our emotions, we lead better lives. So.
And again, better is not the best. It's just better. Like you woke up today better. Like you had COVID.
Yeah.
Now you're better.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that, like you said, your voice is still, I can't hear it that much, but then again, we don't talk on the phone all day long, so I don't.
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed if you told me or didn't tell me today that I would have ever noticed that your voice was a little itchy, but you're better though. And I'm sure like that has to feel just good again. It's like things in life are already hard. So to take one thing out of your life that's unhealthy could potentially just help you that much more, right?
Yeah. So I think I kind of went on a tangent there, but I think to answer your question, I work with people of all income levels right now.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. Like mental health doesn't.
Exactly.
It's one of those things where like it doesn't. Oh, that guy is poor. I'm gonna attack him right now. It's like it could be anybody. I think one thing we'll do is we'll definitely get some resources, maybe like a nationwide, like maybe you have a website that if like someone's interested in just like touching base with someone.
Yeah.
Because again, like some people don't want to talk to their family or friends about it, and it might be easier for them just to reach out to someone. And now like you're saying, like these times of Zooms and FaceTimes and things like that, maybe they could hop into a group or something and just listen. When you wake up, like, again, back to starting your day with matcha tea latte. Such a fun name to say. Matcha.
Yeah.
Matcha. Let's look at this in like a way where you wake up, you're like, all right, we touched on this earlier. You can't help everyone, but maybe you can help that one person. With your nutrition background, is breakfast one of the most important things that you could tell us? Like, I'm not, because my buddy was over here the other day and we were talking about how he does fitness stuff, like as a personal trainer. So he's helping people on the physical level, right?
Cool.
Which also helps people on the mental level, which again, I think you could go either way with your two jobs or careers. Is, it's like, yeah, maybe you started with the mental side, but then that led them to go into the gym again, or vice versa. Maybe you started with the gym, which then they started feeling a little bit better, but then they were like, man, I still have some issues. I'm gonna go see a therapist. Do you think breakfast is one of the most important things a person can do to start their day?
I do think breakfast is really important. And I think what's also important is what we choose for breakfast as well.
Sugar cereal.
So I'm gonna.
So your mom was right.
I'm gonna agree with my mom on this one. I think that was a good dessert option. But and I'm not a nutritionist, so I just want to
of
say
course,
that.
yeah, no, and this is again, these are our opinions. Like this isn't like this is again clearly like we could get online and read 400 different articles, but I can personally say I do breakfast every morning. And even if I start with a little bit of a down, I slowly come up after that. And it is choice. I probably avocado.
Okay.
Usually a couple fried eggs and bacon.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, it's the healthy fats, the protein.
Yeah.
I think that, when you do like and again, I really come from a standpoint of like food is food. Like I don't love like good foods versus bad foods. That can create really unhealthy mindsets. But coming from a balanced breakfast of like some carbs, but also some protein.
Yeah.
And the healthy fats, which kind of helps to slow down. Because what carbs do is it revs us up, right?
Yeah.
But then we tend to crash. But carbs and sugar can also rev up our emotions. And so it can heighten our anxiety. And so, yeah, it might give you a quick start, of energy to your day, but then you might kind of drop off. So I love that, like having the protein and the fat to kind of, I don't know what the word is, like stabilize it. It helps it to metabolize differently in your body. But I think it's just different for everyone because some people don't eat breakfast and do really well. I am not that person. And if John were here, he would give me a hard time about being hangry. I'm very much with my like blood sugar and
Snickers bar.
Yeah, I need...
It's all making sense now, the Hershey.
Right, yeah, oh gosh. But yeah, I need to have like kind of consistent energy to feel good. My mood is heavily influenced by
food.
Yeah, if I don't have enough kind of in me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I could do breakfast and then go the rest of the day and maybe have like something small for dinner and I'd be fine.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it was the touring in me. I would always get up and I would always go get bacon. Because for me, it sounds crazy, but bacon I could put in like a solo cup and go walk around and do my job still while eating breakfast in a way. Or like, I love burritos. So, if there's a breakfast burrito. But I went through a moment where I did keto or keto, whatever the pronunciation is.
Yeah.
I felt great.
Okay.
I mean, but I also love fatty foods. So like the avocados and the bacons and the cream cheeses and all that stuff was amazing. And then I can turn around and say, like, some people I've talked to hated it because of that same reason.
Yeah.
You have to eat a lot of fat.
Yeah.
And I also but that's me. Again, so that's why my breakfast is bacon, eggs, and then avocado.
And you feel good with that?
I do. I do. I think, with my little guy, when it's time for him to start doing stuff like that, I'm going to try something different every day. Just, and again, he might down the road be like, I'm not a breakfast person. I'm more of a lunch person. Like, cool, whatever. But I want to like open him up to, I'm not a big oatmeal person. So I don't do oatmeals. I don't do pancakes. I don't know.
Okay.
Pancakes are so dry. That's a hated food of mine.
You need you need the maple syrup.
No, I just can't do pancakes.
Okay.
They creep me out. It's like marshmallows.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
no s'mores?
I'll do s'mores. But I won't just eat a marshmallow. Like looking at a marshmallow, it's like the creepiest thing in the world. Like,
yeah, like what are they actually?
It's sugar in a, I don't know. I saw a big marshmallow thing come out on a movie and attack people. So maybe that was my fear of them. No, but my little guy, like I would love to know, like in the mornings that I made him, like, let's just say pancakes and bacon, and then sent him on his way. Maybe that made his day, and maybe that started him smiling or whatever. And then who knows? Maybe then he turned around and smiled at someone else, which then turned around and smiled at someone else. Because all I want him to do is learn how to love and learn how to, reciprocate the love that he gets at home to people that maybe don't get it. So, it's like, again, am I going to fix the world health and the world, hunger and you name it? No. Philip is not going down that route. But, or I should say PK. I'm not going down that route. But I can tell you that I can at least hope that I give my little guy the start to his day, whether it be a smile, breakfast, whatever, and hopefully that translates that out.
Yeah, I love that.
That's all we can do, right? At some points in life. And like, it's like going back to this beautiful tea that you brought me. Look, you came over, you took the time to come over here, lighten my day up. I hope that we, cheered some other people up out there and maybe just gave them an outlet to be like, look, it is hard and I am having a hard time, but obviously she's helping someone. Maybe I can find someone that helps me or whatever it might be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just recognizing that it's okay to have bad days. And it's okay to...
Do you have bad days?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have bad days and I eat pizza and I do all the things. I mean, I think that's like a common like misconception that if you're into nutrition or whatever, you don't...
can't be perfect every day.
Well, yeah, and again, like this whole balanced mindset of like, we can get into really, really unhealthy relationships with food and views on food when we say like that's a forbidden food. Like if I love pizza and I tell myself I can never have pizza because it's, greasy, whatever, it's gonna create this really unhealthy mindset. And so balance and trying to just label foods as foods and not like those are bad things, like we never eat donuts here.
Boundaries. Like, all right, babe, I'm never bringing pizza into bed ever again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, I just think that we all could use a little bit more acceptance around mental health stuff and that it's okay.
I can 100% get behind that, and I know that I've not always been someone that's like that. But again, I want my little guy to be different than I was, and if I have more, I want them to be out there. Again, knowing that each person's different, like, cool, like maybe you do that, you do you. I'm here to help. I'm here to smile at you. I'm here to lift you up if you need it. If not, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna be doing me and hanging out and eating pizza.
Yeah.
But full on. I all I can say is thank you for what you do and coming over here and, like I said, brightening my day up in the morning. Like a little gloomy, and this is definitely helping my Bevvy from last night.
Good. Well, thank you for having me. I mean, I love getting the chance to talk about mental health and this stuff. Again, I'm just a big proponent of it, and I want it to be a more easily talked about thing.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, again, I have my issues. I'm sure some will come out on this show over time, and some might just be stuff I talk with, personal people, like on my own time.
Yep.
But again, I think that, yeah, like being open just in general helps people around you also know, like, maybe they are going through a hard time. It's okay. Like, hey, again, I'm here when you need me. Until then, you just keep doing you.
Yeah. And most of us, I can't speak for every therapist, but most of us can relate.
Yeah.
That's why we get into this. And so, we've gone through things ourselves and are still going through things while we're doing therapy with other people. And so, I think it can be this fearful thing of like, I'm going to go talk to this person and they're not going to understand it all.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, there's things that I don't understand. There's things that people go through that I have no, I've never experienced personally, but I have experienced my own things. And that, that helps me to feel connected to others and want to do that type of thing as well.
Yeah. Well, and again, you said it perfectly earlier. You don't tell someone how to change. You might lead them to the water. Or you might lead them down the path like, hey, have you thought of this or have you thought of that? Or let them tell you, I've been thinking this. And you're like, keep thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
That's a healthy thought.
Yeah.
As opposed to the thought you came with last week.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So I have to ask a couple questions since you did have a one-time on tour experience.
Yes.
What was your first concert?
My first concert was a Luke Bryan concert.
Really?
Well, I guess my first technical concert was a Christian artist in high school, and I really can't even remember the name actually, which is killing me right now. But I would say what I consider my first concert was Luke Bryan.
Wow. Here in Tennessee, or did you go travel to see that?
So it was in Pennsylvania when I lived in Pennsylvania.
Whoa.
It was in Pittsburgh.
At the arena?
No, it was outside Pittsburgh. I can't remember.
Oh, at that amphitheater out there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I know.
Yeah.
He knows how to shake his back end.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
He's an impressive performer. I've always enjoyed when I've gone to do some of his shows, just standing out there in the audience and watching people just have the time of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really fun. I mean, it was just the whole experience of a first concert out on the lawn.
Yeah.
Openers, all just the whole thing.
Being surrounded by a bunch of friends who are in the music industry, do you ever sometimes go, man, that'd be fun
to do it?
Yeah. Go ride on a bus for months at a time. I know that you already said you didn't have a good bus experience, but
no, I just have a true appreciation for everyone that does it. I could not do it. Yeah. And that's why, I think John and I work so well together. We're very different people. We really complement each other, but I'm just like, I need my structure, need my routine, and John can just like go to bed whenever and wake up whenever and do, he's really good at that. So no, I don't think I could do it long term.
It is hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Yeah.
This was actually fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that in the sense like therapy is one of those things where it's hard to talk about, but I had fun talking about it because, again, there's so many different things and there's so many avenues people can go down. But the more we talk about it, I guess the more we can help people and, just smile daily. And
yeah. Absolutely.
You got to go to Japan and try this tea.
That would be really cool to try it. Like, not wherever mine was made. Actually, authentic.
Probably Japan.
You think?
Yeah, they might have shipped it over.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a matcha tree.
Right.
Is it a tree? A root?
I don't actually know. I think it's a leaf. I think it's a tree. I think it's a matcha
most
leaf.
teas are leaves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tea leaf. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I actually did pretty well on mine. I don't have too much left. How about yourself?
I've got quite a bit. I think
Do
I
you?
was doing too much talking.
I don't know. I think I talk way. Again, I am a talker, and I might have dominated a lot. I'm sorry.
No, I think because I barely have a dent in mine, so I don't know how my bottoms up is going to go here.
Well, if you don't finish it completely, we'll let that slide. We'll have to hold that till next time. But well, Kiersen, thank you so much again. We'll link up some stuff. Maybe you can come up together. Maybe you can come together with some solid numbers, maybe some links, and then we can just put them in the bio for people that, again, maybe them, maybe a loved one, maybe it's just something that they just might explore down the road one day and could help them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Appreciate your time. Thank you for all the things you do for people, and we'll I'll see you soon. I don't know, maybe we'll have you on another time.
All right, sounds good.
Bottoms up.
Thank you. Ooh.